You want to look where, human? First contact gone hilariously wrong. Her heart raced faster than the pod's thrusters as she glanced around at the city before her. Towers glimmered with soft, shifting colors, and the streets seemed to ripple beneath the sky like a liquid rainbow. She had trained for years for this moment, humanity's first contact with an intelligent alien species. And now she was here. The Xiphorians emerged from the city like shimmering, multi-limbed statues coming to life. Their skin glowed with faint bioluminescence, shifting in patterns Lena could only guess were their expressions. Their long arms ended in delicate tendrils, each tipped with tiny, soft pads that seemed both precise and gentle. They were taller than she expected, at least 7 feet, and they moved with an elegance that made her stumble slightly as she tried to follow. "Stay calm, Lena," she muttered to herself. "Just be polite. Remember your training." She raised a hand in the universal greeting taught in her training, and one of the Xiphorians froze. Its glowing patterns flickered rapidly. Lena realized too late that the movement had been misinterpreted. She stepped forward with a friendly smile and extended her hand. The alien mirrored her movement, or at least she thought it did. Its tendril hovered just above hers. Nervously, she grasped it. Immediately, a sharp, high-pitched sound filled the air like glass lightly tapping glass. Lena yelped and jerked her hand back, stumbling over her own feet. The tendril remained suspended midair, glowing brighter now, and she heard the soft, buzzing chatter of the other Xiphorians around her. "Oh no," Lena whispered. "I think I did something wrong." From the corner of her eye, a smaller Xiphorian approached cautiously. Its light pulsed slowly, in a rhythm Lena would later learn was curiosity rather than anger. This one moved differently. Its limbs were shorter, more flexible, and it tilted its head like it was studying her in detail. Lena gave a small wave. The small Xiphorian copied her, tilting its head, then flicked one of its tendrils toward her. Lena took it as an invitation. "Hi," she said, her voice shaking. "I'm Dr. Lena Ward, human ambassador from Earth. I come in peace." The small creature's glow flickered rapidly again. Lena frowned. She had rehearsed this sentence thousands of times in her quarters aboard the ship. She tried again, slower this time. "I am here as a friend. I want to learn." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, in a blink, the creature's glow burst into a dazzling display, sending waves of light across the platform. Lena shielded her eyes and squinted through the brilliance. When her vision returned, she realized the other Xiphorians had stopped moving. All of them. The air seemed to thrum with tension, or at least she thought it did. A voice, deep and resonant, echoed through the platform, not in words she could understand, but in vibrations that made her chest buzz. Lena swallowed. Clearly, she had triggered some kind of alarm. I think I did something wrong," she said again, more to herself than anyone else. The small Xiphorian tugged gently at her sleeve, urging her to follow. She stumbled after it, trying to keep up as it led her toward a large, dome-shaped building at the edge of the city. The walls were smooth and pulsed with the same soft colors as the creatures' bodies, shifting as if alive. Inside, the building was a dazzling mix of light and motion. Holographic shapes floated in the air, changing constantly, some resembling plants, others strange geometrical patterns. Lena's translator beeped softly, trying to catch snippets of conversation she could barely make sense of. Words came out as garbled syllables, sometimes merging with flashes of light. "Okay," she said aloud, ignoring her growing nervousness. "Just observe, don't touch anything." She was failing immediately. Her hand brushed against a floating holographic panel. It responded instantly, expanding into a three-dimensional map of the city. Lines and nodes shifted under her fingers as she tried to pull her hand away, but she only ended up pressing a smaller button, triggering a cascade of lights. "Oh no, sorry," she said frantically. The small Xiphorian let out a series of high-pitched sounds, and Lena felt the translator vibrate against her chest, trying to convert them. The closest translation she got was, "You are human, you touch everything." She laughed nervously. "I promise I don't usually break things, I'm curious." Curiosity, apparently, was contagious. The small Xiphorian nudged her toward a section of the room where the light was brightest. Holographic images swirled, forming scenes of Xiphorian life. Some looked like art, others like records of history, and some, Lena realized with a jolt, looked very personal, almost like family albums. "Oh, you want me to look?" she said, tilting her head. She stepped closer. Then she noticed a button glowing red, pulsing insistently. Without thinking, she pressed it. The screen expanded instantly, revealing a Xiphorian gathering. Tendrils intertwined in a ceremonial display, their glowing bodies flickering in patterns that were completely unfamiliar to her. Then the screen zoomed in on something smaller, two Xiphorians tangled in a pose that looked, at least to Lena's human eyes, quite private. She jumped back. "You want to look where, human?" she exclaimed, realizing how badly her words might have sounded if anyone understood them literally. The small Xiphorian recoiled, then tilted its head, apparently amused. It wasn't anger, Lena realized, more like a mixture of curiosity and judgment. She laughed nervously, rubbing the back of her neck. "I swear I didn't mean, I'm still learning." For the first time, the other Xiphorians reacted. Instead of retreating further, they seemed to pulse with interest, watching her carefully. Lena felt her stomach tighten. Was this going to be a disaster? Humanity had trained her for diplomacy, but nothing had prepared her for accidentally invading alien privacy. "Okay," she whispered to herself. "Step back, breathe, don't touch anything else." She tried to focus on the small Xiphorian, Trelli, who had become her accidental guide. It seemed determined to help, bouncing slightly on its tendrils and nudging her forward. Lena followed, weaving through the light displays, trying to make sense of the flashing symbols and floating shapes. Every step she took, every gesture she made, felt amplified under the alien gaze. Finally, Trelli stopped at a smaller, quieter corner of the room. The light was softer here, the holograms calmer. Lena bent down slightly to meet its eye, or whatever the alien equivalent of eye contact was. Its glow pulsed slowly, reassuringly. "You're not mad at me?" she asked softly. Trelli's translator buzzed gently, confused, not angry. "Human makes mistakes," Lena exhaled, relief flooding her. "Good, mistakes are human," she said with a small laugh, "and sometimes hilariously bad mistakes." Trelli flicked one of its tendrils toward her in a gesture that could have been a handshake or a hug. She decided to return it cautiously, keeping her hands visible. The contact was light, fleeting, and oddly comforting. For the first time since she landed, she felt a thread of connection forming. Even as relief settled, she knew one thing: this was only the beginning. The Xiphorians' reactions had been unpredictable, and she had already broken at least 3 unspoken rules. But there was also a spark of hope. Humanity might just have a chance if they could use their curiosity, humor, and creativity wisely. Lena straightened, brushing imaginary dust off her suit. "All right, Trelli," she said, smiling despite the lingering embarrassment. "Show me more. I promise I'll try not to touch anything important this time." Trelli pulsed brightly and bounced ahead, leading Lena deeper into the heart of Xiphorus City. The alien architecture curved and twisted in impossible ways, each corner revealing new lights, new sounds, and new mysteries. Lena's heart raced, not with fear this time, but with excitement. This was the adventure she had trained for, a first contact that would go down in history, and she was right in the middle of it, stumbling, laughing, and learning with every step. Little did she know, the mistakes she had already made were only the first of many, and that the Xiphorians' sense of humor might prove to be the key to bridging the vast gap between their world and hers. As the lights pulsed softly around her and Trelli guided her through the glowing corridors, Lena couldn't help but think, maybe being human wasn't such a disadvantage after all. Sometimes being clumsy, curious, and endlessly talkative was exactly what the galaxy needed. Lena followed Trelli through the winding halls of the Xiphorian Cultural Archive, trying her best to keep her hands to herself. Every corner she turned revealed another wonder. Floating platforms with swirling patterns, streams of light that bent like ribbons in midair, and holographic creatures that blinked and disappeared as quickly as they appeared. Lena felt like she had stepped into a dream, or perhaps a museum designed by someone who had mixed art and science in ways humans had never imagined. "This is incredible," Lena whispered, more to herself than to Trelli. The small Xiphorian tilted its head and emitted a soft hum, which her translator buzzed to life as, "You are impressed. Good. Impressions are important." She nodded eagerly, wanting to show respect. "Yes, very important," she said. "Impressions can help us understand each other." Trelli seemed pleased, its glow brightening slightly. It led her to a section where the light was warmer, softer, and the holograms seemed more personal. Lena's curiosity pushed her forward. She had already learned that touching things here could cause unexpected reactions, but she could not resist observing closely. Some of the holograms showed Xiphorians engaged in activities Lena could only guess at, floating in the air with strange devices, forming intricate patterns with their tendrils, and creating what looked like glowing art directly from their bodies. She could feel the weight of history here, the stories of a civilization that was beautiful, complex, and completely different from hers. "This is amazing," she murmured. "I want to understand it all." Before she could even think about it, her curiosity got the better of her. Her hand brushed against a small, hovering sphere. Immediately, a holographic display exploded in front of her eyes. Bright lights swirled, forming images that moved faster than she could process. Lena gasped. She realized too late that she had activated a kind of Xiphorian archive viewer that was meant for experienced citizens only. "Oh no," she whispered. "I did it again." Trelli hovered close, its glow flickering nervously. "Human, reckless," the translator buzzed. Lena waved her hands defensively. No, I'm careful, I just sometimes curious." The images on the hologram shifted. At first, they seemed abstract, flowing patterns of color and light. Then they became more concrete. Lena noticed figures that resembled the Xiphorians she had met, but in private settings, studying, resting, and interacting in ways that seemed personal. She froze, realizing she might have stumbled into something equivalent to a private family album. "You want to look where human?" she muttered to herself, remembering her earlier blunder. She quickly backed away, her hands raised in apology. Trelli emitted a sound that seemed almost like laughter. The translator buzzed. "Amused, not angry. Human, strange." Lena laughed nervously. "Yes, strange, very human." She took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart. "Okay, let's focus on learning, not prying." As she continued to follow Trelli, she realized the guide had a mischievous streak. Every so often, it nudged her toward displays that triggered another round of glowing images or sounds. Lena jumped, laughed, and sometimes muttered apologies. The Xiphorians seemed entertained, and she slowly began to understand that humor could be a bridge here. "Maybe if I show them I can laugh at myself, they'll forgive my mistakes," she said. Trelli flicked a tendril in response, as if agreeing. Eventually, they reached a large chamber filled with holographic maps and glowing lines connecting cities across Xiphora. Lena marveled at the complexity. This is your planet," she asked. "You've charted everything," the translator buzzed as Trelli responded. "Everything we know, connect, understand, learn from patterns." Lena nodded, trying to absorb the information. Her mind raced with possibilities. Humanity could learn so much from this technology. And yet, she also realized the responsibility she carried. Every mistake she made, every misunderstanding, could have consequences for future relations. Her thoughts were interrupted when Trelli led her to a smaller section of the room. Here, the holograms were calmer, showing scenes of Xiphorian life that seemed safer, more public. Children, if they could be called that, glowed softly as they played, their tendrils creating shapes in the air. Adults worked together, constructing light-based structures that shimmered like crystal. Lena's heart swelled with admiration. "They're like us in some ways," she whispered. "Curious, playful, learning." Trelli hummed in agreement, and Lena felt a rare sense of connection. She realized that despite the differences in appearance, physiology, and culture, there was a common thread: the drive to explore, to understand, and to grow. As they moved deeper into the chamber, Lena noticed a panel of symbols that pulsed differently from the rest. Without thinking, she pressed it gently. The room shifted. A holographic projection appeared, showing what seemed like daily life inside Xiphorian homes. Tendrils intertwined in dances, glowing objects moved in patterns, and the light shifted with subtle emotions Lena could not fully read. "Oh no," she whispered again, recognizing the risk she had taken. She felt her face flush. "I shouldn't have done that." Trelli hovered close, its glow steady. "Human, unusual, curious, persistent." The translator buzzed again. Lena laughed nervously. "Yes, persistent, very human." The images suddenly shifted again, and Lena froze. Some of the scenes were intimate, Xiphorians in private moments that were not meant for outsiders. Her stomach twisted. "I'm so sorry," she said, stepping back. "I didn't mean to invade privacy." Trelli's glow pulsed softly. "Human forgiven, mistakes learning, humor accepted." Lena blinked, relieved. Humor, that was her key. If she could laugh at herself, show humility, and stay curious without being disrespectful, she might be able to navigate this culture. She smiled, feeling a surge of confidence. "All right, Trelli, let's continue." Carefully this time. No pressing mysterious buttons, okay? The small Xiphorian seemed to chuckle, if such a thing was possible, and led her toward another section. Here, the holograms displayed Xiphorian inventions, floating vehicles, energy patterns, and devices that could manipulate light and matter in ways Lena could barely comprehend. "This is amazing," she said, touching the edge of a display gently. It responded with soft pulses, showing diagrams that outlined the flow of energy through the devices. Lena's mind raced. Humanity could learn so much from this. Not just technology, but ideas about problem-solving, creativity, and ingenuity. As she explored, she realized that despite the differences, there was a shared curiosity between humans and Xiphorians. She laughed quietly at one display, where a holographic figure of a Xiphorian had accidentally tangled its tendrils while trying to levitate an object. Trelly emitted a high-pitched sound and the translator buzzed. "Human finds humor shared." Lena's laugh grew louder. For the first time since landing, she felt truly at ease. Mistakes were happening, yes, but they were becoming moments of connection rather than conflict. Suddenly, a new sound filled the chamber. A low, vibrating hum different from the soft background tones she had grown used to. The lights around the room pulsed in unison. Lena looked at Trelly, who seemed alert now. "Human attention needed." Lena's heart skipped. "What is it?" she asked. The small Xiphorian guided her toward the central hub of the archive. There, a tall Xiphorian approached, a figure of authority if Lena had to guess. Its glow was steady but intense, and its many limbs moved in precise gestures. Lena froze, remembering all her mistakes so far. Trelly nudged her forward gently. "Human must meet Elder." Lena straightened, trying to appear confident. "Hello," she said, bowing slightly. "I am Dr. Lena Ward, Human Ambassador. I come in peace." The Elder studied her silently. Its glowing patterns shifted rapidly, like lightning flickering across a stormy sky. Lena swallowed, unsure if she had done something wrong again. Then slowly, the Elder's glow softened. It tilted its head slightly, and the translator buzzed. "Human, unusual, bold, curious, humor detected." Lena exhaled in relief. "Yes, bold and very human," she said, smiling. The Elder extended a tendril in what Lena guessed was a formal greeting. She reached out carefully, letting her hand hover above it, and the creature's glow pulsed gently. A connection, small but real, was forming. As she left the chamber with Trelly by her side, Lena realized that despite all her mistakes, all the misunderstandings, something important had happened. The Xiphorians were beginning to see her not just as a clumsy visitor, but as a representative of a species capable of curiosity, humor, and learning. And Lena understood that this was only the beginning. Many more mistakes and many more moments of laughter were waiting for her in the days to come. Humanity's first contact with an alien species was far from smooth, but it was alive, vibrant, and full of potential. She smiled at Trelly, who bounced lightly on its tendrils. "All right, let's see what else we can learn. And maybe, let's avoid any more private albums, okay?" The small Xiphorian hummed in agreement, and together they moved deeper into the heart of Xiphora, ready to face whatever surprises the city and its inhabitants had in store for them next. Lena felt a strange mix of excitement and nervousness as she followed Trelly out of the archive chamber. She had survived her first major embarrassment and even earned the recognition of a Xiphorian elder. But she knew that this was only the beginning. The city of Xiphora was vast, full of light, color, and unknown customs, and she had only scratched the surface. "Okay, Trelly," Lena said softly, "let's take it slow this time. No pressing strange buttons, no accidentally invading privacy, and definitely no touching tendrils without asking." Trelly's glow flickered as if chuckling, and Lena smiled. Maybe the small Xiphorian was enjoying her nervousness more than she wanted to admit. Still, she followed its lead as it bounced ahead, guiding her through the twisting streets of the city. The platforms beneath her feet shimmered and shifted, giving her the odd feeling of walking on water. She had to concentrate not to stumble, especially as Trelly moved with practiced ease, navigating the floating walkways. They soon arrived at a plaza filled with Xiphorians, all gathered around glowing structures. The shapes rotated slowly, creating patterns that reminded Lena of kinetic sculptures she had studied on Earth. The crowd pulsed gently, their lights flickering in response to some signal she could not see. "What's happening here?" she whispered. Trelly's tendril pointed toward one of the larger structures. The translator buzzed softly. "Public demonstration." Learning communication with newcomers. Lena blinked. A public demonstration for her. She swallowed nervously. Her previous mistakes must have caused quite a stir. She tried to walk calmly toward the center, keeping her movements polite and slow. The Xiphorians parted slightly, making way for her. A group of young Xiphorians approached and began to perform a light dance. Their tendrils intertwined gracefully, glowing in rhythm with the pulses of the plaza. Lena watched, mesmerized. It was beautiful and elegant, like nothing she had ever seen. The patterns were precise yet expressive, and the creatures seemed completely in sync. Unbelievable, Lena breathed. It's like poetry in motion. Trelli nudged her toward the front, urging her to participate. Lena hesitated. She had been told to observe first, but she had a feeling that this was more than just watching. She took a deep breath and stepped into the circle. Immediately, a holographic panel appeared in front of her, showing simple gestures and movements that matched the dance around her. Lena studied them carefully. Slowly, she began to mimic the gestures, moving her arms and stepping lightly in time with the glowing patterns. The young Xiphorians paused for a moment, then began to pulse in approval. Trelli's glow brightened and the translator buzzed. Human learns quickly, unusual but effective. Lena laughed softly. I guess humans can improvise even if we don't have tendrils. Her small joke seemed to amuse the Xiphorians. They began to incorporate her movements into their patterns, their lights flickering brighter and faster. Lena felt a surge of joy. For the first time, she realized that despite the differences, humans could connect with these beings through observation, creativity, and a willingness to try. After the dance, a larger Xiphorian approached her. Its glow was steady and warm. Lena recognized it as another elder, though younger than the one she had met before. The elder moved one tendril toward her and the translator buzzed. Human participates willingly. Creativity noted. Lena bowed slightly. Thank you, I want to learn and understand. The elder paused, then emitted a series of hums that made the translator buzz again. Learning, through mistakes, can lead to understanding. Lena smiled. She had already learned that lesson firsthand. Mistakes were not failures here, they were opportunities. She felt a renewed sense of purpose. Humanity had a lot to offer, not through strength or technology alone, but through curiosity, creativity, and humor. As they walked further into the city, Trelli led her to a quieter area where glowing vines twisted around the buildings. The light was softer here, and the air felt calm. Lena could see Xiphorians working on personal projects, constructing floating devices, experimenting with light patterns, and teaching younger Xiphorians new techniques. This is incredible, Lena whispered. They are so inventive. Trelli nodded, its glow steady. Humans, inventive too, must show skill. Lena hesitated. She had never considered showing her own abilities, but she realized that sharing knowledge could build trust. She reached into her satchel and pulled out a small human device, a light projector she had designed for communication experiments. Okay, let's see if this works, she murmured. She activated the device, projecting a pattern of lights into the air. The shapes moved smoothly, shifting in color and form. Lena manipulated the controls, creating new patterns that intertwined with the Xiphorian light streams around her. The Xiphorians paused to watch. Their glow pulsed faster and Trelli's tendril brushed lightly against her arm, a gesture Lena interpreted as approval. Human, creative, compatible with patterns, the translator buzzed. Lena's heart raced. She realized that even small gestures, small inventions, could bridge the gap between species. Humor, curiosity, and creativity were universal languages. Just as she was starting to feel confident, she heard a sudden, sharp buzzing from above. The sky pulsed with a strange light, unlike anything she had seen. The other Xiphorians stiffened, their glows flickering rapidly. Trelli's glow dimmed slightly. Unknown, approaching, alert. Lena's stomach tightened. She had hoped the first contact would be smooth, but apparently the universe had other plans. She looked up and saw a sleek, dark ship descending from the sky. Its shape was alien, even to her, and it moved with predatory precision. Oh no, she whispered. What now? The elders began to move quickly, signaling to the other Xiphorians. Lena noticed that the glowing patterns around the plaza shifted, forming protective barriers of light. She had no idea how they worked, but she understood the intention, defense. Trelli tugged at her sleeve. Human must act help. Lena hesitated. She was not a soldier nor trained in combat, but she had something just as powerful, ingenuity. She scanned the plaza, looking for anything that could help. Her eyes fell on her light projector. Perhaps, combined with Xiphorian technology, it could create a distraction or signal or some form of communication. "Okay," she said to herself. "Time to improvise." She placed the projector on the ground and activated it, projecting a sequence of lights and patterns into the air. She tried to mimic the pulse and rhythm of the Xiphorian defense signals, hoping that the combination would create a coherent message. The elders noticed immediately. Their glows pulsed in recognition, adjusting their patterns to match hers. Lena held her breath as the lights intertwined, forming a luminous bridge between human and Xiphorian signals. Above them, the alien ship slowed. Its dark surface reflected the combined light display, and for a moment everything was silent. Lena's pulse raced. She realized that even if these aliens did not understand language, they could interpret patterns, rhythm, and intent. The ship shifted slightly, then emitted a high-pitched tone. The translator buzzed with a rough translation. "Unknown, observing, not hostile, curious." Lena exhaled. For now, the immediate threat had passed. She felt a surge of relief, tempered with excitement. Humanity's first contact was far from over, but she had just witnessed something incredible. The power of creativity and quick thinking to bridge species. The elders approached her afterward, their glow steady and approving. One of them emitted a series of hums. "Human, brave, intelligent, patterns understood." Lena smiled. "Thank you, I just tried to help." Trelli nudged her gently. "Human, valuable ally." The other Xiphorians around her began to resume their activities, though more cautiously than before. Lena realized that her actions had earned respect, not just from the elders, but from the younger members of the species as well. She had made mistakes, but she had also demonstrated humanity's unique strengths: curiosity, humor, creativity, and the courage to act under pressure. As night fell on Xiphora, the city glowed softly, the streets alive with pulsing light. Lena looked around, marveling at the beauty and complexity of it all. She realized that, despite the challenges, she was beginning to form a bond with this alien species. Mistakes, misunderstandings, and even accidents could become opportunities for connection if handled with care and honesty. She looked down at Trelli, who floated beside her, its glow steady. "We did good today," she said softly. "Humans can be helpful. Even clumsy ones like me." Trelli emitted a happy pulse. "Human learning continues, future bright." Lena laughed, feeling a warmth in her chest. Yes, the future was bright and it was full of potential. Humanity's first contact with an alien civilization was messy, unpredictable, and sometimes hilarious, but it was also full of promise. As she prepared to rest for the night, Lena knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, more cultural misunderstandings, more surprises, and perhaps even more lessons in patience and creativity. But she also knew that humans had something special to offer. In a universe full of wonders, mistakes could become bridges, humor could become connection, and ingenuity could become survival. For the first time since she landed, Lena felt truly at home among the stars. She smiled at Trelli, who floated next to her, glowing softly. "Tomorrow," she said, "we learn even more, and maybe, just maybe, we'll make them laugh again." The city pulsed around them, alive with light, movement, and possibility. Lena knew that humanity had taken its first steps into a much larger world, and she was ready for everything that came next. The morning on Xiphora was unlike any sunrise Lena had ever seen. Instead of a bright ball of light rising slowly in the sky, the planet's surface glimmered as streams of bioluminescent energy threaded through the air. The city pulsed with color, and even the floating platforms shimmered as if they were breathing. Lena stepped carefully onto one of the pathways, trying not to stumble again. Trelli bounced lightly beside her, its glow steady and encouraging. "Ready for today?" Lena asked, adjusting her satchel. "I have no idea what's coming, but I'm ready to try." Trelli pulsed in agreement. "Human, ready, day, learning continues." Their first stop was the plaza where Lena had participated in the dance the day before. This time it was filled with Xiphorians of all ages, some floating in intricate patterns, others observing from the sides. The elders were present, their glows steady, and Lena could sense that something important was about to happen. As they approached, a young Xiphorian stepped forward. Its glow pulsed rapidly, signaling excitement. The translator buzzed. "Human, join, cultural exchange." "Teach, learn." Lena blinked. "Teach, learn." The Xiphorians wanted her to share human knowledge. She took a deep breath, realizing that this was an opportunity to build trust and connection. "Okay," she said aloud, smiling. Let's start with something simple. She looked around and noticed small holographic panels floating near the crowd. With a few careful gestures, she activated one. Lines of colored light appeared, forming shapes that resembled letters. Lena tapped the controls and displayed simple human words. Hello, friendship, understanding. The crowd's glow pulsed in response. Lena could tell they were paying attention. The elders exchanged rapid flickers of light and what Lena guessed were approving hums. Trelli nudged her gently. Human, communicate success. Encouraged, Lena moved to the next step. She began demonstrating basic human gestures, waving, bowing slightly, smiling, and pointing to herself when introducing her name. She combined these with the words displayed in light. The younger Xiphorians began to mimic her, tentatively at first, then with more confidence. Their tendrils flickered and twisted in patterns that seemed playful and curious. See, Lena said softly. We can share ideas without words, it's fun. The elders watched closely, their glows steady but intense. One of them stepped forward and joined in, mimicking her gestures. Lena laughed quietly. Humor, she realized again, was universal. Even beings who could communicate with light and vibrations could appreciate a simple joke or a playful imitation. After a while, Lena introduced a small game. She pulled out a lightweight ball from her satchel, something she had prepared for exactly this type of cultural exchange. It glowed faintly with built-in light. She demonstrated tossing it gently, then catching it. The young Xiphorians hesitated, but then began trying themselves. Their tendrils were surprisingly good at catching the ball, though they moved differently than humans. Lena clapped and laughed, enjoying the growing connection. Human, teaching, successful, fun, shared. Lena smiled. It was working. Mistakes and awkwardness were no longer barriers. They had become bridges. Just as she was beginning to feel comfortable, the crowd's glow shifted. A ripple of tension passed through them. Lena noticed Trelli stiffen, its glow dimming slightly. Oh, she muttered. What now? Above the plaza, a small group of ships appeared. They were not Xiphorian, but clearly alien. Sleek and dark, they moved in a formation that spoke of coordination and purpose. Lena's stomach tightened. She remembered the ship from the day before. These newcomers looked different but equally intimidating. The elders reacted immediately, sending pulses of light into the air. Lena could feel the vibrations through the platform beneath her feet. The city's defensive systems were activating. The younger Xiphorians scattered slightly, their glow flickering with nervous energy. Trelli nudged Lena urgently. Human, help now! Lena glanced around. She had no weapons, no combat training, but she had creativity. She quickly grabbed her light projector and activated it, sending a series of colorful patterns into the sky. She tried to match the rhythm of the Xiphorian defensive pulses, creating an interwoven display of human and alien signals. The elders noticed immediately. Their glows shifted, syncing with hers. Lena's heart raced. She had no idea if the approaching ships would understand the signals, but she had to try. The alien ships slowed as they approached. The translator buzzed urgently. Unknown, observing, not hostile, cautious. Lena exhaled. The combination of human ingenuity and Xiphorian coordination had at least prevented a confrontation. She smiled at Trelli. We did it. We're communicating. The aliens hovered for a moment, then shifted their formation slightly. The translator buzzed again. Curious, signals acceptable. Relief washed over Lena. She realized that creativity, humor, and quick thinking were powerful tools, even in a universe filled with unknown species. Humanity's strength was not just in technology, but in the ability to improvise, adapt, and communicate in unexpected ways. After the immediate threat passed, the elders guided Lena and Trelli to a quieter part of the plaza. The glow here was soft and comforting, and the tension of the moment slowly faded. One of the elders extended a tendril toward Lena. The translator buzzed. Human, brave, intelligent, contribution valuable. Lena bowed slightly. Thank you, I just tried to help. Trelli nudged her with a playful pulse. Human, clever, humor appreciated. Lena laughed. She realized that even mistakes, even awkward moments, could become opportunities for connection if handled with honesty and creativity. The rest of the day was spent in cultural exchange. Lena taught the Xiphorians simple human songs and rhythms using her voice and small percussion instruments she had brought. The young Xiphorians experimented, trying to mimic the sounds using light pulses. Their results were uneven, sometimes hilarious, but always enthusiastic. Lena laughed along, correcting gently and praising their efforts. Human, persistent, patient, skill growing, Trelly's translator buzzed. Lena smiled. Yes, patience and laughter, lots of laughter. Later, she demonstrated basic human games, like hopping over lines and tossing small objects. The Xiphorians adapted the games for their tendrils and glowing bodies, inventing new versions that Lena could barely follow but enjoyed immensely. She realized that humans and Xiphorians were learning from each other, creating a shared culture for the first time. As evening approached, the elders called a gathering. Lena joined them in the central plaza, surrounded by a mix of young and adult Xiphorians. The city lights pulsed in anticipation. One of the elders emitted a series of hums and pulses that the translator interpreted. Human accepted, bond formed, future promising. Lena felt a rush of pride and relief. Humanity had taken its first real step into a larger universe. Mistakes, misunderstandings, and accidents had not led to failure. They had led to trust, respect, and connection. She glanced at Trelly, whose glow was steady and bright. "We did it," she whispered. "We actually did it, and we even made them laugh along the way." Trelly emitted a series of happy pulses. Human, integral, part of culture. For the first time, Lena felt a deep sense of belonging. She was a human on an alien world, yet she had formed bonds, shared knowledge, and created understanding. She realized that humanity's greatest strength was not technology or firepower, but curiosity, humor, creativity, and courage, the ability to connect with others, even across the vast gulf of space and difference. As the stars began to twinkle in Xiphorah's sky, Lena looked around at the glowing city. She knew that more challenges awaited, more misunderstandings, and perhaps more surprises from the universe. But she also knew that humanity had a unique place here. They could make mistakes, laugh, improvise, and still succeed. She smiled at Trelly, who floated beside her, its glow steady and warm. "Tomorrow," she said softly, "we continue. We teach, we learn, and maybe we make even more friends." The city pulsed around them, alive with color, light, and possibility. Humanity had survived its first major test of diplomacy, creativity, and courage, and Lena knew that the journey was just beginning. She felt ready for anything, confident that humans could turn even mistakes into moments of brilliance, laughter, and connection. And as she watched the Xiphorians return to their homes and projects, she realized that sometimes being human, curious, clumsy, clever, and full of humor, was the most powerful thing in the galaxy. The next morning, Lena woke with the sun, or rather, the soft glow of Xiphora filtering through her quarters. The city pulsed gently, its bioluminescent lights weaving patterns across the walls. Trelly hovered nearby, its glow steady, as if encouraging her to face the day. "Ready for the final challenge?" Lena asked softly. "I hope it's not another embarrassing moment." Trelly pulsed lightly, buzzing through the translator. Human prepared, confidence growing, humor essential. Lena smiled. That was true. Humor had been her secret weapon so far, and she knew she would need it today. She adjusted her satchel, making sure her light projector was ready. Whatever lay ahead, she would face it with curiosity, courage, and a willingness to laugh at herself. They stepped onto the floating platform, moving through the twisting streets toward the central plaza. The city seemed more vibrant than ever, as if it knew something important was about to happen. Xiphorians of all ages gathered, their glowing bodies pulsing in a rhythm that Lena could almost follow. The elders were present too, their tendrils moving gracefully as they prepared for an event that Lena could only guess would be the culmination of her first contact mission. As they reached the plaza, a series of larger, more complex holograms activated around them. Each displayed patterns and sequences Lena had never seen before. Trelly nudged her toward a position near the center. "Human, part of demonstration." Lena's pulse quickened. A demonstration. Was she expected to participate again? She glanced nervously at the elders, who seemed calm and approving, their glows steady. She took a deep breath, reminding herself of the lessons she had learned over the past days. Observe, improvise, communicate, and laugh. The event began with the elders coordinating a sequence of glowing patterns. The younger Xiphorians followed, their tendrils weaving intricate designs in the air. Lena watched carefully, noting the rhythm and flow. When Trelly nudged her forward, she realized it was her turn. "Okay," she whispered to herself. "Let's do this." She activated her light projector and projected a series of human patterns into the air. She mimicked the Zyphorian's motions as best she could, waving her arms, stepping lightly, and adjusting the lights to match their rhythm. At first, there was a moment of hesitation. The patterns didn't align perfectly, and Lena felt a familiar twinge of embarrassment. Then, something wonderful happened. The Zyphorians adapted. They twisted their tendrils, adjusted their glow, and incorporated Lena's movements into their display. The lights intertwined beautifully, human and Zyphorian patterns merging in ways that neither could have achieved alone. Human creativity, integrated harmony, Trelli buzzed. Lena laughed softly. It was exhilarating. She realized that this was more than a demonstration, it was a symbol of unity. Humanity and Zyphoria were learning from each other, finding common ground through creativity, humor, and cooperation. Suddenly, the sky above the city flickered. Lena tensed, expecting another alien ship. Instead, the light revealed a small fleet approaching from a distance. These were the unknown aliens she had seen previously. Their ships moved carefully, observing the city below. Lena's heart raced. Could this be another crisis? The elders reacted immediately, sending pulses of light into the air. Lena activated her projector again, carefully syncing her patterns with the Zyphorian signals. The translator buzzed urgently as Trelli communicated. Human, act, now, signals, bridge, understanding. Lena focused, manipulating the light projector to match the city's rhythm. The patterns intertwined in the sky, creating a luminous display that pulsed with life and intention. Slowly, the alien ships responded. Their movement became less threatening, and the translator buzzed. Unknown, observing, understanding, curiosity. Lena exhaled in relief. She had once again used human ingenuity to prevent a potential disaster. The Zyphorians, impressed by her quick thinking, pulsed brightly, acknowledging her role in maintaining peace. After the alien fleet passed, the elders signaled for Lena to join them at the center of the plaza. The crowd of Zyphorians gathered around, their glow gentle and approving. Lena felt a surge of pride. She had made mistakes, yes, but she had also contributed to trust, learning, and unity. One of the elders stepped forward, its tendrils reaching toward her in a formal gesture. The translator buzzed. Human ambassador valued, contributions remembered, humor respected. Courage celebrated. Lena bowed slightly, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. Thank you, she said softly. I only tried to do my best. Trelli nudged her gently. Human more than best, essential. The crowd of Zyphorians pulsed in waves of light. The younger ones twirled and jumped in playful imitation of the gestures Lena had introduced over the past days. She laughed aloud, realizing that her mistakes, her humor, and her curiosity had not only been accepted, they had become a part of Zyphorian culture. The elders then guided her to a raised platform in the center of the plaza. Holographic displays activated around them, showing scenes of Zyphorian life. Lena realized that the elders wanted her to contribute something lasting. They wanted her to leave a mark, a symbol of humanity's arrival, creativity, and goodwill. She thought for a moment. Then she had an idea. She activated her projector and began creating a series of human symbols, intertwined with Zyphorian patterns she had learned. The shapes glowed brightly, merging seamlessly with the city's pulsing lights. Lena included gestures she had taught the young Zyphorians, words of peace and friendship, and simple patterns representing laughter and curiosity. The result was breathtaking. The plaza shimmered with an intricate dance of light and movement, a true combination of human creativity and Zyphorian art. The elders observed silently, their glow steady and warm. Trelli floated nearby, its excitement apparent. Human genius, integrated legacy, the translator buzzed. Lena felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. This was more than recognition. This was a bridge between worlds, a lasting symbol of connection. Humanity, in all its curiosity, clumsiness, and humor, had found a place in the heart of Zyphoria. As the day progressed, Lena participated in a festival celebrating the union of human and Zyphorian cultures. There was music, movement, games, and laughter. Lena demonstrated human dances, while Zyphorians adapted them with glowing tendrils. She shared songs and rhythms, and the Zyphorians responded with harmonized light patterns that made her laugh in delight. At one point, a young Zyphorian accidentally tangled its tendrils in a display of lights. Lena stepped in gently, helping it untangle while keeping the pattern intact. The translator buzzed. Human, patient, kind, humor shared. Lena laughed. Yes, patience, kindness, and humor. That's human, I think. As the festival continued, Lena noticed a group of Zyphorians gathering near the edge of the plaza. Their glow flickered with anticipation. She approached cautiously and saw that they were signaling to Trelli. The translator buzzed, "Special recognition for human contributions, future partnership." Lena's heart raced. She had expected acknowledgement, but not this. The elders guided her to a ceremonial spot. Trelli hovered beside her, glowing brightly. One of the elders extended its tendrils toward her in a final gesture. The translator buzzed, "Human honorary member of Zyphoria, ambassador of friendship, future shared." Lena's face lit up. She felt a rush of pride, relief, and happiness. She had arrived as a stranger, clumsy and curious, and had become an honorary member of an alien civilization. The mistakes, the misunderstandings, the laughter, they had all led to this moment. She looked around at the Zyphorians, young and old, and realized something profound. Humanity's value was not just in technology or intelligence, but in curiosity, humor, courage, and the willingness to learn and connect. As the sun, or rather, the soft glow of Zyphora, began to fade into the colors of evening, Lena stood at the center of the plaza, surrounded by a civilization that had once seemed so foreign. She took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of the city and the warmth of the Zyphorians' acceptance. "We did it, Trelli," she said softly. "Humans have a place here, not because we're perfect, but because we try, we laugh, and we learn." Trelli's glow pulsed brightly, the translator buzzing. "Human, vital ally, future promising, shared." Lena laughed, feeling the joy of the moment. She had come to Zyphoria unsure and nervous, and now she left as a bridge between worlds. She knew that many challenges would come in the future, new species, new misunderstandings, new adventures. But she also knew that humans had something special. Curiosity, humor, ingenuity, and courage. And that was more powerful than any alien technology. As night fell and the stars glittered above Zyphora, Lena looked at the glowing city, pulsing with life and possibility. She knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had made its first friends among the stars, and the universe was full of opportunities, surprises, and laughter waiting to be shared. She smiled at Trelli, who floated beside her, glowing softly. "Tomorrow," she said, "we continue. We learn, we laugh, and we make more friends. And maybe, just maybe, we'll leave a little bit of humanity everywhere we go." The city pulsed gently around them, alive with light, laughter, and promise. Lena knew that humanity had taken its first true step into the galaxy, not as conquerors or invaders, but as curious, brave, and endlessly inventive friends. And in that moment, she realized that being human, curious, clever, and full of humor was truly the best thing she could offer the universe.